Hi, in this video, I'm going to show how to make a map with Flourish. So I'm going to start here with my data in Excel. And like with so many of these projects now, the trick is to kind of think backwards and to figure out what the data is going to need to look like for the map or the graph or the visualization that you want to make, and to only upload that to Flourish to do all of your work on the front end as far as grooming and manipulation. Okay, so I think a good map or a good map here would be maybe to show, let's look at our options. Signed into Flourish here. Let me make this really big. Make a new visualization. Since these are athletes from all over the world, I will make a world map. Of course, you could also just filter the US athletes if you wanted to. I don't know if we have state in there though. Okay. So this is the world map that they have available. And I'm not sure. It has, if you notice, it has both geographies and points. So I'm going to look at the data that we need to make a map of the world. It just looks like a list of the country names. This column A is the geometry that shows what the country's shapes are in the map. And then we also have the population loaded in now. So if we want to make a world map, we need to make our data look like this data. So right now what we have is all the athletes listed by athlete. So we got to change that to by country. So we want the country name. Oh, that's the person's name. No, not that. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So look, we're making that look like that. And then what data do we want to put up on our map? How about the number of athletes? Now, we don't have to necessarily map all of these, but I'm just going to put it together right now, just so we can have it to look at. You don't want the sum of ID. Now, I could also count the number of last names. Presumably, it would be the same. You know, only two athletes from Afghanistan. Okay. Let's count the number of not some, count. All right. And right now this is alphabetical by name. Let's just make it, let's sort it by the number of athletes. Oh, maybe not a surprise. Oh, this doesn't look right. Count of go. These should be sums, shouldn't they? My mistake. The tell here, of course, is that these should not all be the same, but we do want a count of all the names. And here I'm using ID, but for gold, silver, and bronze, we want the sum. I'll fix that quickly. All right, now that's much better. And again, this is just the count of rows that have you, and each row is an athlete. So it's the number of athletes, number of gold, number of silver, number of bronze. You know, we could also, why not also get the number of sports that each country participated in. So this is similar to the number of athletes, of course, but you know, some sports are team sports, so they have one sport, maybe more athletes. Oh no, this won't work. We'd have to do a different pivot table for that. My mistake. Yeah, this would require a separate pivot table with sport in the rows, and then, or whatever. All right, moving on. So I think this will be good data to map. You know, we have the name of each country, number of athletes, number of gold, silver, and bronze medals. So next, I'm going to highlight this. Well, I'll do it the easy way. So like that. Copy it. In a whole new spreadsheet. Edit. Paste special. Values. I'm even going to fix this up a little bit. And I'm going to call this I'm going to save this as all right. So now we got to bring this data into Flourish. Now, for some of these map types, you will simply upload your data. But here, we need to preserve their geometry. We need to keep some of their stuff. So instead of just uploading and replacing all of this, what we have to do is this merge. Upload data and merge. So let's do it. Oh, well, let me try it again. Now, select matching columns to join on. You can tell this isn't a good match because it doesn't look similar. But that looks like a good match. Now these are alphabetical and these are not. Hopefully that won't make a difference. Now, 40 rows were ignored. Now we could track that down in a little more detail, although I'm not really expecting too much work along that end for this assignment. Some rows may be ignored because the spelling was slightly different in how the names are spelled between the two spreadsheets. And it could get even worse than that because some nations, for the purposes of the Olympics in 2006, are not the same as the nations recognized by Flourish in 2020. right? So not only, all right. I fixed some of these errors already in the spreadsheet, but that is a potential source of error, and it's possible that there's one or two of those. But I think the vast majority of errors here are places like Antarctica, where there are no Olympic athletes. And so that's a failed merge. So, you know, and this one would be a fail, come up as one of those failures on the merge too, and zero population anyway. Now, Flourish is not super sophisticated on this. When we get into Tableau in a couple weeks, Tableau is actually super sophisticated on this and lets you get in and fix problems with a merge in a way that Flourish just doesn't bother with. So anyway, I'm sort of, the problem with the merges here is mostly these non-states, or, you know, this geography problem that I'm talking about. When we get into Tableau, when we get into that, we're going to get further into kind of fixing data. Anyway, so here's what we got. Ideally, it matched up our athlete data with the country names and just brought that on and preserved what was already there. So it kept this region, which I'm not sure what we would use, but you could, the population. Now let's look over here. We want geometry as A. Names B, sure. Value. Well, we don't want to map on population, I don't think. Let's have it color in the geometries. So this is what this is about. It's coloring in the geometries. Let's color it in based on the number of athletes, which is E. Now, at any point, we can flip over there and see what we're getting. Now, this looks good, and yeah, so it's given us the number of athletes. It seems to be, we're still getting these bubbles that we don't really need these for this math, right? So let's go back to the data. All right, points. What happens if you do that? No, just want to point out some stuff that we didn't use here. There is a whole area for adding points based on latitude and longitude, which is actually surprisingly easy to get. You can get that on addresses, on anything. All right. So I hope this helped make a nice map here. And now for the assignment, you are going to make several visualizations. I'm going to name this one so you can make several maps or several visualizations like this. Oh, better save this first. So you can make several visualizations like that and put them into a story like this, which is kind of like a slideshow visualizations with your titles in between. And so here's one thing you could do. This one's very basic, of course. You could add some representations of numbers of gold and silver medals on this. You could also do bar charts showing the medal count different ways. There's also the number of male and female participants might be interesting to look at and compare. All right, so there you go. If you have any questions, drop me a line.